coming tonight. It's nice to see that we have a group of people that are interested in finding out more information from all of the candidates that we have for the Board of Supervisors for Harrison County. The more informed a person is, the better the election turns out. So election date is November 8th, so that's coming up relatively soon. I believe that you can actually go to the courthouse right now to vote early too. So keep that in mind if you have other plans for November the 8th. My name is Jeannie Wortman. I am the Executive Director for the Missouri Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank you for being here tonight. There are a number of people that I need to extend a thank you out to. One of those being the candidates for accepting our invitation to come to the forum tonight. So thank you, all of you gentlemen. The Rand Community Center has this wonderful venue here that we are able to meet at. I have the Lions Club individuals over here, and they have coffee and water to offer tonight, so please take advantage of that whenever you would like to. For those of you who are not familiar with the Rand Center here, if you need to use a restroom facility, they are up in this corner. Denny Smith is always our go-to guy to set up our sound system, so he has done that this afternoon with use of the city council equipment, so we appreciate that we were able to borrow that tonight. So thank you to Danny and to our city council. Our police department is always present during one of these forums, so our officer is in the back of the room, so watch your P's and Q's. So otherwise he'll escort you out. So Blair Radio is here tonight, and they're doing a live stream tonight. So for those who are not here, you can go to YouTube and pull up Blair Radio, and they can watch this as it's going on this evening. Otherwise, by tomorrow, tomorrow you can go to blairradio.com to watch it, and you can go to their Facebook page also to be able to see it. I will be receiving a link to the chamber, and so I can forward it out from there also. So lots of good ways that we can watch this. So tonight also I want to thank chamber member Kathy Jones. She's here as one of our timekeepers, and Rochelle Straight is here assisting her. And so they will be keeping everybody on time. David Jones, our CHI administrator, is in the back of the room, and he's got his hand up back there. David, can you hear me okay back there? Are we good? Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much. So he's here to assist. If someone wants to write out a question, there are forms on two of the tables back there. He will look through those so that we're not duplicating something, and he'll bring them forward to our moderator. Folks, go ahead, find a seat. There's coffee and water over here if you want to take something with you to your seats also. Our moderator tonight is Connie McWilliams. Thank you, Connie, for doing this for us. We really appreciate that. There are programs, agendas on your chairs, so we will follow through that particular agenda. And so at this time, I'm going to ask everyone to stand. We'll be saying the Pledge of Allegiance. After that, Connie will offer a prayer, and then she will read the rules for the forum tonight. So we ask you that you adhere to those rules, okay? Following that, the candidates will be giving their opening statements. So the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we've just repeated those words, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Those are tall orders to live up to. But we pray this night that we might be able to do that. I pray for these candidates that they may express their thoughts and their plans and their words that they share. And I lift this audience up to you that they may listen attentively. Open all our minds and hearts that we may work toward a better Harrison County for all people. We pray this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen. You may be seated. The rules are for tonight and will be adhered to during this foreman. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to introduce themselves. Each candidate will have up to 1 minute to answer the question asked by the moderator. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes for closing remarks. The timekeeper will show a yellow card when there are 30 seconds left for the candidate to finish their answer. A blue card when there are 10 seconds left to finish. And a red card means a candidate needs to stop speaking. Their time has expired. A bell will be rung. And just a little hint, guys, those are probably your best friends out there with the time to get what you want to say said and done. So keep your eye on them. If a candidate continues speaking after their allotted time has expired, they will be given a one-time warning. If there's a second occurrence, they will be removed from the forum panel. Candidates will adhere to a professional decorum. No personal attacks against another candidate will be allowed. The audience will also adhere to professional decorum. Anyone making a disturbance will receive a one-time warning and be removed from the RAND Center if a second time occurs. Please hold any applause until the end of the questioning. We have a lot of questions and we have quite a few candidates tonight, and we want to move through this, and we want to allow at the end of the time for the gentlemen, if they choose to mingle with you, that you can continue to go up and visit with them afterwards. So with that, we will start with you, Roger. An introduction, please.
I beg your pardon.
An introduction.
I'm Roger Gunderson, past city council member and currently on the Soil Conservation Commission. I'll pass.
My name's Dan Kors. I was born and raised in Magnolia on a family farm. After graduating in about 1981, I joined in the family farm. We milked cows, had some livestock. In about 85, 86, I ended up purchasing the family farm. I married my wife Chris, and I reside in Logan. We've had 4 children, 5 grandchildren. And in about 92, I went to work for United Airlines while still farming. Done that for 23 years. During that time, I was elected to represent the employees in Omaha, Nebraska, as well as Des Moines. After that, about 15 years ago, joined farming with my brother. We brought our sons home. We joined in a venture of raising chickens also. Still raise cow-calf herd and raise chickens and still farm. Been on the Logan School Board for about 18 years. And still presently on that board. I enjoy living in this county, very proud of this county, and I appreciate being here tonight. Thank you.
Brian?
I wrote this down because I knew I would forget. I am Brian Reif, and I'm here to ask for your vote November 8th. I am a lifelong resident of Harrison County. I live in Mondamon with my wife Lacey and our children. We have Parker, who is 19, Ellie, who is 5, and Carter, who is 5 days old. That's why this band's on my wrist. We're currently still in the hospital with Carter. We kind of went back and forth whether I was going to come tonight. My wife thought, yes, you need to be there. So she gave me the okay. I served on the Mondayman City Council for 6 years. I served as mayor for 6 years. I gave up the mayor. I still get wrote in, but I decline it. I'm serving as fire chief right now. Trying to do both was a little bit of a challenge. And I think we get comfortable in our position, so I don't think I should be mayor anymore. I think it's time for somebody else. So I also believe in term limits, so that's, if I don't hold true to what I believe, then I shouldn't be out here saying it. I've served on Harrison County EMA, Harrison County 911, Harrison County Assessors Conference Board, Harrison County LEPC, which is a local emergency planning council, the West Harrison Teammates Board, and like I said, I also am currently the fire chief in Mondayman. I have a semi-truck and haul commercial grain, seed, and pesticides. I have a seed dealership with Beck's Hybrids. And I help on the family farm with my dad, and my grandma's very active in that as well. I'm also the clock keeper for the home West Harrison basketball games, just because I needed one more thing to do. First and foremost, I'm a Christian. My faith in God will always come first. My wife and I are members of the Mondayman Church of Christ. I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe the Constitution was to protect people from the government and not government from the people. I'm running out of time, so I'll stop it.
Terry?
I too wrote it down because I know myself too well. I will ramble. My name is Jerry Kaiser, and I'm running for this office because I just felt moved to serve, and so I had the opportunity to do so. So here I am. I don't know about y'all, but when I go into the voting booth, I typically think about a person's character first. I think about their experience second, where they've been, what they've done. Doesn't mean much to me unless they have the character to back it up. And so that's the way I vote. And so I believe that I am a man of character. I stand by what I believe, and I don't care too much about D's and R's, party lines. They don't mean a whole lot to me. I'd much rather look at the individual and how that individual carries him or herself. I'm a 68-year-old father of 4 kids. I see one of them is here tonight. Thank you. I've got 2 grandkids. My wife and I have been married for 34 years, so that right there should tell you how tough I am. So, that was supposed to be funny. Graduated high school in 1972, worked for a little while, and then entered the Air Force. Spent just under 7 years serving in the Air Force. After that, I stayed in the aviation business. I worked aviation, corporate aviation actually, for 32 more years. We relocated here from Colorado, so we've been in Harrison County now 22 years. And this next month will be 22 years. And let's see if I missed anything here. My wife and I are members of Grace Community Fellowship Church in town here, and I'm just really glad to be here, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so glad to be doing this. Thank you, Chamber.
Tony?
Well, thank you. My name's Tony Smith. I live between Woodbine and Dunlap. I'm just finishing my first term on the Board of Supervisors. I've been married to the beautiful Virginia Jacob Smith for 42 years. We have 2 kids, Clark and Shalane. And Clark and Shalane, that's the couple, and then there's Laura and Brandon, the other 2. And we have 5 grandkids and 1 more on the way, which makes us very excited. I am a member of Post 224 up in Dunlap. I'm a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, served 23 years. We farm, and I bought a couple farms over around Woodbine. I'm also a full-time crop adjuster, for those who know what that is. I have been in public service pretty much my whole life, either on the volunteer fire department. I'm still serving on the Harrison County IMAT, the Incident Management Assistance Team. And I love being part of this county. We've lived all over the world. We could have lived anywhere after we got out of the service, but we didn't. We came back here because I wanted to farm, a dream I had since I was a little kid. And so we started farming back here about 2008. after we moved back in 2000. But it's a beautiful place to live, and I love it a lot. We're a member of the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Woodbine. I've participated there ever since we've returned. And I want to thank the Chamber for having us tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, our first question, and Roger, we will start at this end. What is your vision for the future of Harrison County?
Why do I want to be on the board of supervisors? Was that the question?
What is your vision for the future of Harrison County?
Oh, my vision for the future of Harrison County involves a lot of development as far as the other smaller towns around. Missouri Valley is the high population area, evidently, and I feel sometimes that the smaller towns around don't get their share of support. And it's not due to their administration or due to the people that are running the town. It's just there's limitations. Where Iowa being 85% agriculture, there's only so much that we can do. Maybe bringing in more agriculture-related industries or businesses because that's what we're good at. Then we can drive for some of the other types of businesses and enterprises. But we probably would have to commit ourselves to helping our neighbors. That's it. That's all.
Okay, Dan?
Connie, my vision for Harrison County is that we're sitting at an excellent location. We're very close to Omaha, which a lot of people are looking for ways to get out of Omaha. We have a good access. I think we need to increase our housing development to meet that need. And once the development starts, I believe that then the industrial can come, we can get more jobs. Right now our workforce is kind of low. So I think if we can work on the housing in all these small communities, that it'll bring people to our area, which in return will bring businesses. Thank you.
Brian?
We need housing and marketing. Young people who are just getting out of college don't want to move into an old house that needs a lot of work. So we need new housing developments for those young people. They need to be able to grow their families here. That's going to help our schools. That's going to bring more business in. And then we need to market our county. We are a lot closer to downtown Omaha than those folks living out in Elkhorn. So if we can somehow market that and let those people know they have a much easier drive from Harrison County, I think that'll help keep those young people here and keep our kids here. Everything will benefit from that, I believe.
Jerry?
I agree that housing is an issue. You know, when you look at the fact that our county has lost population over the last 2 cycles of census, so over a span of 20 years we've lost population. That's not a good trend, obviously. So I think that what we need to do is develop business-friendly environments. We've only got like 3% unemployment in this county, so it's going to be tough for industry to come in. So we just need to make it more business-friendly environment, maybe through tax incentives. I don't know how we do that exactly, but it has to start with housing and making it friendly for people to come here and run their businesses.
Okay, Tony?
I think our school districts have started this process already. We, for years, have taught our kids they gotta go off to college, you gotta go find a job. And we got out of the VOTEC business, and we've taught these kids, we haven't provided them the life skills. Have you tried to hire an electrician lately, or a carpenter, or a plumber? Any of the skills that we need here? The schools have started doing that again, and I think that will help us a lot economically. But we as community also have to work on the housing situation so they have a place to live. And I think we're doing that, but there's more we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dan, we'll start with you on this one. How, as a supervisor, would you attract new business and industry to the county?
Kind of what we've already discussed is we need to work with these towns to set up some kind of protocol to create development. Most of the time, you don't know how to develop create a big project like housing, how to fund that, how to go about that. And I would work with departments in order to develop that plan and process in order to make it feasible for these small towns in order to do that.
Ryan?
Again, you gotta get the houses here. If you have the housing, you got the young people, businesses follow the people. Oftentimes I think we get that mixed up and we try and get business in and expect people to move in around the business, but that's not how it works. You look at any area that's grown, it's always the housing first and then businesses come in around it. And I think the best way to do that is to keep our property taxes low. That's how we're gonna attract people here. That's our biggest thing we have going for us. If you look at our property taxes versus closer to the metropolitan areas, our taxes are way lower, and we have to keep that and maintain that. And we also have to keep our small town values. We don't want to grow too big to where we lose our values and become a large city and have our inner city problems.
Okay, Jerry?
Bringing new industry, new business into the county, obviously, generates that revenue, but without the housing, you're stuck in the mud. If you don't give people a place to live, then it's gonna be difficult to attract them. I still think that, controlling our taxes, controlling our just to make it more business friendly. Don't kid yourself, businesses that consider coming to any location, whether it be Harrison County or otherwise, those are things that they're looking at. Because if they can't hire the manpower to run their business, they're gonna choose a different place to go. So we gotta get people in there. Thank you.
Tony?
I've been an advocate for a while that I'd like to see us do a little different than we've been doing in the past. I'd like to see a grant program at the county level for new and existing businesses. For larger businesses that we would attract, I'd like to see us use more, and the community does this some, but TIF financing, tax incremental financing, it's a great way to bring in larger businesses, especially someone's gonna build a factory or something. That's a big deal, a lot of money for them to use in the building their business or operating of it. We don't do that very well right now. I'd like to see us improve that. Thank you.
Okay, Roger? How, as a supervisor, would you attract new business and industry to the county?
Right now, I think we need to study how other counties, other cities, other areas attract business, because we've never done what Blair did, for example. He engaged one professional person to go around and try and promote businesses for our community. We always left that in the lap of existing non-professional developers within city government. So what you gotta do is get someone that does this, that really knows how to go out, how to approach, that looks at your weaknesses, looks at your faults, and looks at your strengths, and then tries to get those appropriate types of businesses into the communities. That's all.
Okay. Brian, we'll start with you on this one. What is your position in funding public education in the county?
I think a lot of tax dollars are already spent on education. I like the library program. I know that's currently being funded through the supervisors. But I also think that if you start throwing more tax dollars, there's more strings attached, and then that's more stress on our school boards. I would rather see a lot of that left up to our local school boards. That way you have that control in each of your school districts.
Gary?
I don't actually see where funding of education is applicable to this job. I think that we, at the county level, we control our taxes, we don't overspend, don't spend money that you don't have, and as Brian just pointed out, there's like a good deal of that money is already going to the school. 40–50% of our tax dollars are going to support the schools. But as far as us driving that vote, I'm not sure that that's applicable to this position.
Tony?
I kind of agree with you, Jerry. I think a lot of that is out of our hands. But I will say, if you turn your tax bill over, look down to the number 3 item on your tax bill on the back side. It's Iowa Western Community College. And I've met with the other supervisors from this region at different boards. And except for Pot County, nobody's very happy with them. They don't reach out like they used to. We used to have Iowa Western extension type facilities in every community that had a school. And now, without the help of some local funding here in Mo Valley, I don't know if they would have come back. So I do think we need to look at that. We need to get together on that and start asking the question to our state representatives, why are we being forced to pay that great amount for so little service? Thank you.
Okay. Jerry, what significant health needs do you see in Harrison County, and what should the county's role be in addressing them?
Would love to get an opportunity to answer that.
Oh, Dan didn't get a chance.
Roger didn't either. To you, right?
What was the question?
Oh, he didn't, yeah, he answered that, didn't he?
No.
We started. Okay, let's, the new business and industry,
The school.
the school.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, let's just back up easy here on it. What is your position in funding public education in the county?
Okay. We've obviously got a moral and a social responsibility to support public education. Private education just can't do it all. The thing about it is, I've seen over the years, I graduated here from high school, went on to college, 2 or 3 colleges, made my way back. Tried to help out in 2 local businesses, loaned out some money and this, that, and the other. The kids, we educate them, they take off. The only time they come back is make sure they're still in the will. We have to do something at some level to, I don't know, obviously you don't want kids coming back, start a business and go broke and have a bunch of debt. That's not it. But after they've developed all these skills in universities, training schools, whatever they do, come back and do something for the community for a few years. That's my opinion on it. That's what I would suggest, a little emphasis on that. That's all.
And Dan, I better let you have a crack at that, hadn't I? What is your position in funding public education in the county?
Well, I think that our local county, we have more school districts in our county than most of the counties in Iowa. We, as taxpayers, can't afford to pay anymore. So we're gonna have to continue with the state funding to help operate our schools. If we try to increase that locally to try to meet that, there's no way we can afford that. Iowa Western has started to work better with us. We got a facility here where we got a joint venture with West Harrison, Missouri Valley, Logan, and Tri-Center. And I think it's a good move on their part to help us with that need for the juniors and seniors to get them ready to go out into the world, in the trades, really. So, thank you.
Okay. Now, Jerry, what significant health needs do you see in Harrison County, and what should the county's role be in addressing them?
The county's role, I think, right now is to stand down. Just, let's wait and see. There's just not so long ago, perhaps a year or 2 ago, we made some significant changes. Additions or modifications, the building, the health department is in pretty good shape in that regard from a office perspective. But we just put Dave Shear in there. I think we need to give him a chance to see what he can do with things. So I don't think we need to make any significant changes until we have to take a wait and see on it and see how things go. You know, obviously we need to keep pace with pay and benefits so we can minimize turnover, but other than that, I think we just need to stand down for a bit, see how it goes.
Tony?
I think we have a fantastic public health department. I really do. And I think David was a perfect fit to make it even better. As far as the county, the other things, and I want to say this with a caveat. I think one of the biggest problems we have in this county is support of mental health. But I'm going to tell you, David Jones is making big changes down there at CHI in Mill Valley, and I'm hoping we get it fixed. My understanding is we got rid of the contractor that was in there, the business, and now we've got real practitioners in there, and I think that's going to help us a lot, but I think we were in a desert for quite a while. Thank you.
Roger? What significant health needs do you see in Harrison County, and what should the county's role be in addressing them?
Whose role?
The county's
What significant problems are you?
health needs. We're talking about health needs. Health.
What's she talking
Health needs, what?
Oh, health needs. Okay, here's the way I look at it. We got a lot of older people here. Sometimes they feel abandoned. Sometimes they feel like, you know, they're not part of things. And I know each community tries to do something. One of the big health issues could be this COVID kicking back up again. They're talking about it over in Nebraska. We got some great people that handled the last COVID issues that we had. But we've also got in Iowa, and I don't know how much of that occurs in Harrison County, malnutrition among children. A lot of kids, one meal a day, that's all we do. And the thing is, I don't know if it's happening here, but we gotta start looking into it. And that is, and we got some great nurses. I've had visiting nurses come to help me when I was recovering from surgery, so those people are great. But they need maybe a little more latitude to start looking at families and saying, you know, not to judge someone else's kids, but to say, I think they need help. That's it.
Okay, Dan?
Our health department, I think, does a pretty good job. We have an issue right now with elder care, nursing homes closing. I don't know where it's the county's job. I feel like I would be willing to work with and try to help out any way we can as a county to support the elderly. Mental health is another hidden problem. When I was at United Airlines, I worked on an employee assistance program where people reached out to me, and a lot of times I just didn't know what to do, whether it was their parents or, you know, they're depressed or, so my job at that time was to reach out and try to find locations that would help and meet their needs. And I really enjoyed that part of my job, you know, people really appreciated that. So I would try to work with departments trying to solve some of these issues. Thank you.
Okay, Brian?
I think right now we have a really good thing going with our public health. I think Mr. Shear was the right hire coming from the industry that he came in. We're going to be able to keep more folks at home longer. We do have several nursing homes in the county, but I think everybody seems to thrive better at home. And it's just a better place for our older folks to be. That's about it.
Tony?
Uh-oh.
Got that on camera.
Put it on speaker.
Okay, Tony? Would you plan on any changes to current taxes?
The best thing you can do as supervisor is fight to keep yourself within budget and do not raise the levy. It's the first question we get every year, the general levy or the rural basic. Those are probably the biggest things we do, and the only change I would have is to keep the taxes where they're at.
Thank you. Roger, would you plan on any changes to current taxes?
Current what?
Taxes.
I don't think there's too much we can do with them. One of the issues is we're right about in the middle of the scale for taxation. Now, if anyone feels that they're being treated unfairly. My house insurance doubled too last year. We've got a situation in here where, I don't know, I had generally 16% to 22%, 16% on land, 22%, that's of the assessed valuation. So that's what we're paying, and that is pretty much in the middle of the road for other, for other counties. So I wish I could say I could get your taxes cut, but there's too many of you. I don't want to lie to you, Commander. But we can work on it. That doesn't mean we can't work on it, And maybe there are issues. Maybe these guys have got some ideas too. That's all.
Okay, Dan?
We keep raising assessments on our property. So as the assessments go up, our levies need to come down. So I'll keep an eye on trying to keep the levies down to match the assessments. Otherwise, that's the only way we can lower the taxes, is try to keep a level field. As assessments goes up, the levy should come down a little bit. If it keeps the same, we're putting more money in everybody's pocket and our taxes are going up. So we need to watch that. Thank you.
Brian?
Dan took the words out of my mouth. It only takes X amount of dollars to run the county. So if your assessment goes up, your levy should come down. You're still gonna get that same dollar amount. And that's gonna cut back the taxes. It's gonna be a great thing for you to have your assessment go up because your home value is gonna show higher. But you also want that tax levy to come down. So we need to figure out ways that we can cut. And when I served as mayor, that's what the first thing I did was walk in and said, where can we cut? And we did it. So that's what I'll try and do.
Jerry?
Agree with Dan, agree with Brian. I mean, it's a simple fact. The levies have to come down. But in the boardroom, Board of Supervisors, keep a sharp eye on that budget. Do not spend money that we don't have. Do not spend money that's not been previously planned out over a 1-year plan or a 5-year plan or beyond. Stick to the game plan, keep an eye on the budget.
Okay. Back to you now, Roger. As you see it, what part of our county government needs more attention?
I'd like to see us look a little closer at development of the communities. As I said, and I alluded to that earlier, we need more professional help in developing the communities. We're taking guesses. Charlie and I tried to get a Tractor Supply to come in, and they said, we're gonna go to Blair, it's a more vibrant community. Also try to, to bring a farm and fleet in so we'd have a hardware store, so we'd have some clothing and stuff. They didn't even answer us. Of course, who am I? But the thing is, unless we get some outside assistance, I don't feel qualified to go out and try and promote a community, but we need a little help doing that. We're a farm community, let's face it. Farm community, maybe being related to farm activities, and farm is what we need, but we're not getting them here. That's all.
Okay, Dan?
What was the question?
It is, as you see it, what part of our county government needs more attention?
Sitting on the outside, I'm really not for sure, positive 100% of what part really needs more attention. Once a guy gets in the job, he gets the feel for everything. I think in my opinion, it's all about the taxes and the budgeting and working with departments to come in with that lower levy. If there's opportunities to share some jobs within the county to try to cut costs because our employees need an increase in pay. So in order to do that, just like in the school systems, you need to find ways to pay your employees more, but yet not tax more. So sharing positions maybe in different areas might help that.
Brian?
Right now, the two areas that need the most attention are the GIS and the assessor's office. We don't have it, so that's the short answer.
Okay. Jerry?
Well, Raj, we can't bring a Fleet Farm here because I would be broke. That's my favorite store. I think what we need to do, community development, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. We need to be more involved with that, be more involved in that. And that's true for all communities. You know, we got 10 towns in this county, so let's you know, spread it out. But where I see, from the outside looking in, as Dan put it, where I see where we might need some help is on our engineering staff with some of these projects. I feel like they're a little bit overwhelmed at times. I think maybe we need some project management type people in there that can take some of that load off of the engineering staff. So just some minor changes, minor tweaks.
Tony?
I think a couple of things we can get better at. One is economic development. We've heard it several times tonight. By Iowa code, the Board of Supervisors is responsible for economic development within the county. I don't think we do that as well as we could. And the other one that's most people are probably aware of is the assessor's office. Because of how Iowa is set up, you can either hire an assessor who's already qualified from outside, or you grow one. In either case, that's a long, long thing to do. There's just over 200 people in the state of Iowa that are qualified to be assessors, and most were contacted and were not interested in coming to Harrison County. So that we're trying to grow assessors, and that takes some time. That's probably what needs the most attention right now. Thank you.
Okay. Dan, I believe we start with you. Once elected, how would you communicate with the citizens of Harrison County?
Wow, that's a tough question, because we've, as a school board, we've been trying to communicate with the community. And nobody reads the paper anymore. Nobody will look at your Facebook unless they have an issue. So reaching the public is difficult. But I think we continue with those processes. I would put it on my own Facebook page. You know, you get some likes, maybe it gets out to more people, and then people ask questions. They'll pick up the phone, call me, email me, but that is a difficult thing to reach out to everybody, because everybody's lives are so busy and nobody takes time unless there's an issue. So that's why you call me if you had an issue. Thank you.
Brian?
I'd like to look into a live stream on the supervisors' meetings. I know we've had talk, a few of you want nighttime meetings. If it's possible, maybe once a month, but I just don't know if that's gonna be possible with the county staff that comes in and paying overtimes. I don't look for a nighttime meeting to happen, but a live stream could possibly happen where, you know, Facebook Live, where you guys can come home from work and then see. Phone, I pick up all the calls. Many of you, if they emailed me throughout this campaign, I always return emails. Social media, I have just about everything. I don't have Twitter, but I have TikTok. You got TikTok?
No. Sorry. No.
So I am a very public person, very accessible to the public, and I believe that I have to make myself accessible. When you're holding a public office, you have to be held accountable to the people.
Jerry?
When you're in public service, you kind of live in a fishbowl. You're constantly being watched, you're constantly being scrutinized, probably constantly being picked on a little bit, perhaps, I don't know. I'm one of those people who answers his phone when it rings. I don't look at it and go, I don't want to talk to that guy right now. Just stick it back in my pocket. I answer the phone when it rings. I answer emails as promptly as possible. I'm a pretty busy guy right now, but you know, I think you have to stick to the basics with this. Getting some type of live stream in the meetings, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm all about transparency. I think we need it. Something that we've kind of been lacking in a little bit lately. So I think we need it, but I don't know if we wanna go that far. I perceive a caution on that one, but I'm not a big tech guy, so I'm more old school. Thank you.
Tony?
As my grandson says, if it's not online, we don't know about it. And that's pretty much what's happening anymore. I have a page I post things on, but probably the best thing is the county's webpage. If you want to know, I'm the one that puts the agenda up there every week. And if I don't have it up there by noon, people are calling me. And my number is 712-592-9817. You can call me anytime. But there's several ways you have to put the word out. And I haven't found the one that works. We have it in the paper. A lot of us older people still read the paper, but the young people do not. And so we're going down to social media is what we're going to have to do to get the word out there. And I'm also with everybody else. I don't know about the live streaming. So, thank you.
Thank you. Roger? How would you communicate with the citizens if you were
I
in the
think face-to-face is great. I suggested this when I was on the council, nobody bid. I like the idea of town hall meetings. We could have county hall meetings, have them up and local. People wanna come in. This doesn't mean the council members, doesn't mean the board of supervisors, doesn't mean any officials other than what the people wanna say to the elected officials. I know sometimes it's cluttery, it doesn't always work, but it's a great way. And then communication, we used to record all these meetings so people could go back and look at them later. I think they're gonna, Jeannie says they may start doing that again, so that not just these meetings, but the council meetings as well. So you can hear what someone said and what someone believed in. That type of communication is hard to beat, and it's not easy to do. I was gonna suggest twice a month, just in town here when I was on the council. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Now listen carefully, gentlemen. This is rather lengthy. What can and should be done about properties in Harrison County that are either vacant and run down, full of trash, etc., or properties that simply have nuisance issues in the unincorporated areas of the county's jurisdiction? And Brian, we start with you.
I've dealt with this. The first thing that should happen is a conversation with the person. It works way better than going and sending a threatening letter to somebody. Go ask them, hey, can you clean that up? What can we do to help you? That's gonna get you a lot further than a threatening letter the first time. After that, you can start with the letters, but let them have a choice in it. Let's talk with those people and see if they're willing to work with us first. That's gonna be the best route for the county, because we're not gonna be spending your tax dollars cleaning up somebody else's mess. And most of the time what happens is you clean that mess up, and a year down the road, the mess is back. So we've just wasted your tax dollars to clean up a mess, and it came right back to us. So it's a touchy subject. I'm with you guys. I agree that a lot of places need cleaned up, but let's have the conversation with them, ask them if they're willing to clean it up, and then let's ask them if they're willing to sell it. If they're willing to sell it, that's gonna help us with our economic development.
Jerry.
Well, my definition of tidy and clean and neat might be different from somebody else's, and that's probably what you were dealing with, Brendan. You know, I agree, having a conversation with the individual first, property owner first, is the thing to do. Beyond that, we need to make sure we have nuisance abatement ordinances that work for not only the people, but for our police departments. The people that we're asking the police departments to enforce these things. If we don't support them in that, then, you know, we've seen it in towns. We have a nuisance abatement ordinance right here in town. But how often does it actually get dealt with? Not very often. I don't know why that is exactly, but I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that we're not supporting our police officers in the matter. Thank you.
Tony?
We see a couple different things that come up to our level that are taken care of. One of them is zoning type issues. Matt Pitt takes care of those things for us. If there's a nuisance out there, or there's you can have 5 junk cars on your property. If you have 6, then you're out of compliance. So just in case anybody want to know that. The other thing we have, and this is volunteer people to do this, is animal type issues. And I've got to give all the credit to Humane Society who tries to work through that. Those are conversations, they go out of their way, and we have a lot of those, lots and lots of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Roger?
On that issue with rundown and dilapidated and abandoned buildings, I've been on the Highway 30 Coalition for 7 years, and Iowa League, also a member of Iowa League of Cities. I got a CEO, a certified elected public official years ago. I'm just saying that there are guidelines on the Iowa League of Cities. You can go to the website, you can talk to representatives about dealing with eyesores. And they cover things like what are the legal circumstances, what are the physical requirements, what is this, that, and the other, what can you do, what you can't do. But most people, it's a lot of work. Most people don't want to take the time to mess with it. They just say, this looks awful, get rid of it. And I'm just advising. I'm saying I would be willing to look at it too. However, everyone isn't that deeply involved in the situation. They just kind of shut their eyes and drive away. Thank
Okay, Dan?
I believe we need to communicate with the individuals. Maybe there's reasons it is like it is. Maybe we can help them out without causing a lot of money, costing a lot of money. But if you know, we get the door slammed in our face after trying to be nice and helpful, yeah, I think we got processes in place, and I'll support the departments that have to take care of those issues.
Jerry, what do you consider to be the biggest challenge of the position you are running for?
Boy, that's a tough one. There's so much to get your head wrapped around. I think for me, it would be spending time in the budget, getting my head wrapped around that. What's there? What's in progress? What's out there that's unfinished, needs done? How to get it done? There's just so many different things. It's hard to put your finger on one. But I guess for me, it would be a matter of just getting my arms wrapped around the whole job. This thing does have a job description. Job one is to manage the county's money. And so that needs to be taken top priority, in my opinion. Thank you.
Tony?
I understand the budget, I understand the county organization, I understand the chains of command, which is quite interesting. But the hardest thing about this position is answering the questions, the valid questions you have, and finding a solution for them. Sometimes we can't solve them all. And that's the biggest challenge for me, because you want to solve them all. When you come from a military background, every task has a solution, but sometimes it's not true in county government. And so that's the biggest challenge for me, is to work hard and try to find that answer for you. Thank you.
Roger, what do you consider to be the biggest challenge of the position you're running for? Roger?
The biggest challenge I got is these four guys. Other than that, I don't think I'm as well known among the residents in the communities around as I am by the farmers. Most of the farmers, a lot of the farmers know me. And I think probably new ideas, and that's what I want to try and bring, is a little different way of looking at things. Nothing big radical stuff, just kind of slide in with some little improvements and things as maybe we should. Would you think about it? Because selling new ideas is really tough. And I know people are, it's a conservative state, one of the most conservative states in the Union, and that's why we've survived so long. But, excuse me, I'm getting a little wound up here, but anyhow, that's what I think, is selling new ideas will be the toughest thing for me.
Thank you. Dan?
The biggest challenge, I think, is taxes. The job's going to be similar to all the rest of them I've done. It's just trying to keep the taxes down and work with the departments in order to keep them under control. With today's society, everything's skyrocketing, 20, 30, 40% on everything. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge I see in this job is trying to keep the taxes down. Thank you.
Brian?
Learning the job is gonna be a huge challenge, learning the hierarchies that Tony spoke about. The other challenge for me is going to be the family balance. I know there's other boards you serve on as a supervisor, so a lot of those boards are in the evening, trying to find that balance with my family. It's gonna be very important to me to continue to spend the time I do with them.
Okay, thank you. Now, some of you have already alluded to this, but we haven't had the answer from all of you, so we will ask it now. And we'll start with you, Tony. Would you support the supervisor meetings being live streamed and placed on YouTube to be viewed live and also to be able to be played back later for people who are interested in them?
I'm kind of ambivalent on this. I mean, I guess I don't see the value in it, but if that's something that people feel strongly about, I don't have any problem with it.
Roger?
Yeah, I'd support it, but I would like to be sure that how it's done is within the limits, financial limits of the county budget. But, you know, it could be done. We used to do it on this community. But I mean, let's not go crazy, you know, with helicopters and everything. I'm just saying, if we could keep it reasonable cost, I'd be glad to get, you know, to have these things live. That's all.
Dan?
I'm not in favor of it, but I wouldn't deny it either. My concern is people coming to the board with their issues and their problems and their concerns. If we just put our meetings on, some people don't want to be on YouTube. People don't want their faces pasted everywhere. So my concern is maybe we wouldn't get the public response and input in our supervisors meeting. Otherwise, it's an open meeting. Whether you post it live or not, it's an open meeting. So I mean, my concern is people won't come to the meetings. They'll just sit back and watch it on TV. We need input. It's a community. We need people to come and talk to us. Thanks.
Brian?
Yes, I think it would help us with our transparency. A lot of folks work during the day and can't get off at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning. So I think it would give them an opportunity to see what happened. They could send emails, give phone calls to the supervisors and let them know, hey, this is what I'd like to see, the direction on this. So it would help with the direction that you guys want to go, because we are elected to represent you. So the more transparent we can be, I think it's the better.
Okay. Jerry?
I'm not necessarily in favor of it, but I wouldn't fight it either. I see some benefits to it, but I think we'd have to be careful with the technology. Make sure it's secure. Make sure we don't have funny stuff happening. You know what I mean. I wouldn't fight it. I wouldn't balk it.
Roger, we are back to you. Regarding your prospective position as supervisors, what do you consider to be your greatest strengths and weaknesses?
Well, you know, I had a farm background until I was 18 years old. I lived with my aunt and uncle over in Yolo-Pond County. Then I had a municipal background. I was on the city council. I got to learn a little bit about budgets. And then when I was going to college, I was going to University of Iowa. That was pretty much liberal arts and military training. But then I got to Creighton. It's finance, accounting, all of those office skills, you know. And I jumped over to the College of St. Mary for computer science skills. So, you know, I guess I'd say most of my skill development has been academic, but I'd like to say I've got an eye for public issues as well. That and the fact that I'm a 70-year veteran of Missouri Valley, and my grandparents are from Missouri Valley, and I'm saying Harrison County, not just Mo Valley, but the whole county. That's it.
Okay, Dan?
My strengths, I feel, are my dedication, my loyalty, and my persistence to follow through. My weaknesses are probably public speaking. Being in front of an audience, I really don't care. One-on-one, I'm really good, but I really don't enjoy being in front of a big group of people. But no, I appreciate everything tonight. Thank you.
Ryan?
Strengths, I'm a hard worker. I work about 16 hours a day, so I will put the work into the job. Weaknesses, you're gonna have to ask my wife. She can answer that much better than I can. Probably I work too much is what she would tell you.
Jerry?
Strengths, I would say my work ethic. I don't think there's anybody that can ever accuse me of being lazy. I'm always busy, always got something going on, and it's always meaningful work, in my mind anyway it is. So I will work hard, and I will work hard for Harrison County. I'm honest, I'm straight up, don't pull punches, don't talk around corners. I'll be straight up with people. And I think that's a strength, my ability to work with people too, all people. So weaknesses, I've been accused of a lot of things, time management being one of them, kind of a challenge for me sometimes. That's perhaps because I have a hard time saying no to people. So anyway, that's me. Thank you.
Tony?
I'm very dedicated to whatever I've been assigned to do. I'm very dedicated to this job right now. I believe I have a high level of integrity. I'm very honorable. And probably the most important one, I'm approachable. Because I think that's the most important part of this job. At least that's what I've learned. Weaknesses. One thing about this job is that everybody else will point those out for you. So I don't think I have to list any of those.
Okay, Dan, what do you see as the most pressing infrastructure in the county?
Most pressing. Our infrastructure is fairly well. They just overhauled the 911. Our roads are road departments in really good shape. I think maybe the bypass that's going around, that really isn't a county project, but I think the bypass around Missouri Valley may help a lot of the communities. Might give us better access to the city in order to draw more people to our area, some young people to our area, because of our school systems and our small communities is a big draw. And I think the access to get to Omaha easily will be huge. And once we get those people to live here, then we can try to draw in more industrial and have them higher paid jobs that can keep some of the people here that instead of leaving. So thank you.
Ryan?
I think it depends on which department you ask. If Mr. Struble was here, he would tell you the roads. And I think the roads could use a lot of work. Problem is there's not a lot of money there. We need to focus on our bridges. I know there's a plan right now in place. They're working on bridges. We just lost another bridge on Sunday's fire. So roads are a big thing we need to look at. And I think everybody in here that lives on a county road would say, my road needs fixed.
Jerry?
Roads and bridges are certainly a top priority, but I don't know it's the most pressing, because I think we got it pretty well under control. It's a big wheel, it turns rather slowly. We've had some challenges with obtaining rock. It's in short supply for some reason or another. I can't imagine why, but it is. We've run into some challenges there, so more hard surface roads perhaps. But taking on more on the roads and the bridge side of things, I think that would be a misstatement. I think really, I suppose if you had to pick one, it would be just to keep our heads above water on those bridges and roads. They wear and tear. There's safety issues involved with all that, and so, gotta keep our eye on the ball.
Okay, Tony?
As a supervisor, your biggest things are bridges, roads, and drainage. And we have a bridge problem. There's only so many resources though, there's only so much money, there's only so much you can do. We have a 5-year plan. You'd be surprised how often those projects get pushed back in the 5-year plan because there's another emergency, there's another bridge that just fell down, it just burned up. I think our engineer department does a fantastic job with the small resources they have, but they can't do it all. We do have to start looking at rock. Rock just went to $14.50 a ton, and the rock we're getting in this area is not the greatest anymore. Crawford County's bringing rock in now from Fort Dodge at 25 bucks a ton. So is that what the future holds for us? I would guess it is. We have to start planning for it now. Thank you.
Okay, Roger?
I'm of the belief that bridge reports have to be verified by the county engineer. I don't know for sure that that is the policy right now or not, but a guy does a bridge inspection, you wanna make sure everything is on there. The other thing is the roads, as you said, is in pretty good shape. I told you I was in that coalition, I'm very strong, I went to 10 DOT meetings to get us a bypass. Got it back on the calendar. I'm a strong believer that 4-lane Highway 30, I'm telling you, that's gonna be an economic boom for the area. And a lot of people are negative on things like that, but it's gonna be going right around us, and it's gonna take the truck traffic around, right to the truck stops, where almost 20% of our tax revenue comes from for the town. So that's important to keep those guys happy, but downtown we can do things with. People don't have to be afraid to get out of their car. That's it.
Okay, thank you. We've done a lot of discussion about finances and budgets tonight, so this question is, tell us about your experience in financial matters and in preparing a budget. And we'll start with you, Brian.
As mayor, I was responsible for putting the budget together, and then the council would approve it. So I worked on government budgets. As fire chief, I have to stay within a budget there as well. When I do a budget, I ask myself, if this was my money, would I spend it on this? And that's what we have to do in public office, because we're spending your money. And we can't be spending it on silly things. I don't have pet projects coming into this position, so pet projects, I think, is something that shouldn't be a thing a supervisor has. So I've never, at any level of government I've served, had a pet project, just so we can stay in them budgets, keep them budgets down.
Jerry?
Most of my budget and budget planning experience comes from my days in the aviation business, large companies, department budgets, where I was responsible for putting those budgets together and then living by them. Facing the reality when you look at a P&L statement and see that you busted budget, or you have to answer these things. And I think what Brian just said is spot on. We're spending other people's money, your money, and so and my money too, for that matter. It's not a game. It's something you have to take very seriously, and you have to answer to it when something goes wrong. That's been my experience anyway.
Tony?
I've managed a lot of budgets in my time, especially in the military. And surprisingly enough, I managed aviation budgets, Jerry, which was, everything is spendy in the aviation business, that's for sure. But I treated all budgets as if that was my money and how do I want it spent. And you have to watch every penny, because there's contractors out there who want to take every penny. And because it's a survival of their business too. So it's a give and take that you have to be on top of. Thank you.
On it. Just a second, I was moving on down to the next one on it, but on it, I lost it here. You have to catch it. The budget, what experience have you got with the budgets? Your financial and experience with budgets.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I know what my background was.
Right.
Okay,
Experience.
financially, of course, like I told you, most of it's academic experience. I did learn a little bit, you know, about from my, some of my relatives are in the cattle business, allocation of assets, how to cope with fluctuating markets and this, that, and the other. To some extent, I'm aware of financial problems of credit that have come up for some communities. And I think I'd look at that pretty strongly and say, why did you start so many projects and put us in a position where, you know, we were in a credit pinch? That causes a lot of trouble, and that happens sometimes. People want to make a big show, they do a lot of different projects, things like that, and then they find out their credit is getting squeezed down on them. So that's my financial point of view. Be, you know, work hard, save your money, and go to church.
Dan?
I started farming in the 80s, and if anybody was around for that, that was a very ugly time. I had to make a budget, and I had to follow it in order to survive. I've been doing that for 30 years, 40 years. Now we're in the poultry business. We have a budget there. Got to follow that one. School board, for 18 years, I've worked with the business manager to create a good budget. And then when I was at United Airlines, I represented the people in Omaha and Des Moines, and I had a budget, had to follow it. And so that's kind of my background. Thanks.
Okay. Jerry, I'll start with you. What goals would you set to achieve if elected? How would you achieve them or evaluate them if accomplished?
Well, I'm not going into this with an agenda. I'm going into this because I feel like I have something to offer. I feel like I have something to bring to the table. Goals are, I guess I don't really have any specific goals other than to do the job and do it well. But how would I achieve a comfort level in the boardroom with this? Is again, get myself trained, get myself comfortable in that I know the job, I know the departments, I know the budget, just all the different parts and pieces that make this thing work. And that would be my goal, is to educate myself, school myself.
Okay, Tony?
I think the most important thing is to be realistic about it. This is a consensus position. You're not there by yourself. You're there to work with people who want to be worked with. You have to present your ideas in a way, and sometimes there's a lot of give and take to make that work with people who want to be worked with. And so it's a challenge, but you never give up. And there's always another day, and you give every bit of your energy to it to achieve those things. Thank you.
Roger? What goals would you set to achieve if elected, and how would you achieve them or evaluate them if accomplished?
In the long run, I'd like to see some improvements that I had recommended achieved. Beyond that, I'd like to see a better life for farm families, for communities, for people in towns. I'd like to see a variety of different improvements that, you know, have come about as a result of my just being on the Board of Supervisors. Once again, these are hard things to sell, but how would I evaluate it? I'd consider myself a success if I could help, if I helped other people to a significant amount that they felt their life was better. That's my goal. I want to serve the community of the county. That's it.
Dan?
I have a couple goals. the most important goal is try to keep the taxes down and keep them level and get everybody as much as they need to operate. But in doing so, keep the levies down. The other thing is communication between the departments. My goal is to visit with them, to understand their needs, so I can work with them to meet our needs. And that's my goals.
Ryan?
Earning and keeping your trust. I'd like to earn your trust. I'd like to be back here in 4 years asking you to re-elect me. I'd also like to earn and keep the trust of our employees. One of the goals I've set is to meet with every county employee, whether it's just for 20 minutes, and ask them, what more would you like to see out of the supervisors? What can we do better to help you in your job? And I think by doing that, with county roads especially, we could get the union out of our county. And I think that would help benefit all county employees, and I think it would help the taxpayers as well by helping save your money.
Okay, thank you. All right, Tony, why do you want to serve on the Board of Supervisors?
I think serving, you kind of come by that in life, I think. And for me, I've served in the military, I've served in the fire department. It was a natural extension to continue. I think you have to give back, and this is giving back. I enjoy what we do. I enjoy the numerous boards you're on, the people you get to meet, and the effect that you have on different things within the region of Iowa that I serve in. So I appreciate the opportunity to give back. Thank you.
Roger?
I think part of it has to do with psychological reasons, like for most of my adult life, I wasn't much of a contributor. I didn't do a lot for the community, this, that, or the other. Yeah, I moved back, and as I got older, I got retired, I started thinking maybe you ought to try and pay some people back for all the years, you know, that you were, you just backed up and didn't get involved in things. So I've been trying to get involved in everything, county, city, you name it, on boards, on commissions, things like that. That's why I want to be on the Board of Supervisors, because I want to try and contribute to the county. And I feel like, you know, maybe I could make a difference for the better for people. But I looked at my life and I said I haven't really contributed much of anything to society. That's why I started going a little bit crazy running for office all the time. That's it.
Dan?
Why I want to serve on the board. I enjoy working with people. I've been on the school board for 18 years, and every day I walk through that big door to go in there, or any time I walk through that door, it's about the kids. It's about how I can help them, educate them, and bring them out into society to better themselves better than I did for myself. I got 5 grandchildren that it's very important for me that the county does well, thrives well. I want them to live here and enjoy life like I have, being around these small communities. And every time I drive by the courthouse, I look at it, and it's an important mark. And I just think about how I can make something better, and that's kind of why I'm running.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Brian?
I love to be active in the community. We're active in our church, I'm active in Mondayman. I feel like with all that activeness I've had, I can bring that to the county level and represent you. I think everybody in this room and everybody in this county needs a representative who will vote for them, and that's what I want to do. We represent you guys. What the majority of the county wants to do is how I'll vote. So I'm bringing that with me, and that's why I want to serve, is to represent you.
Jerry?
I see it as a new challenge. I've done a lot of stuff in my life and excelled at some of it and failed at some of it and learned lots of valuable lessons along the way. But this is different. This is service. My whole entire career has been service oriented. Served in the military, I served my churches, I served my schools, I served, my community, and I just want to give back. And I think there's a certain nobleness about that. Is that a word?
It is. That's a new word.
But I enjoy people. I've never really met a stranger. I can approach anybody, and I feel like I'm pretty approachable as well. So I just see it as a challenge and something new and exciting for me.
Thank you. We do have some questions that have come forth now. You guys can get these, so. What do you think of the bypass? We'll start with you.
I think I let you know already, but I'm pushing for it. I'm hoping everyone learns to love it. I think it's gonna be a good economic move for the whole county. It's gonna help a lot of people, and I think it's hard to visualize what good can come of a baby right now. But all you gotta do, second highest volume highway in the state of Iowa, Interstate 29, St. Louis, all the way to Canada. What a location. What the hell happened is what it's my fault as much as anyone else's. I didn't get involved early enough. That's what I think about this.
Thank you, Roger. Dan?
I think it'll be a good thing. I think it'll open up our communities and give us better access. I think it also will help Missouri Valley. They have a very nice Main Street. Tourism is huge. It's bigger than anybody realizes. And it would give them an opportunity to come to these small towns, see these brick buildings, and I think it'll be good. And as far as the rest of our communities up the road, it'll be better access to the city and bring the young people into our school districts and lower our taxes. The more people we have here, the lower the taxes will be. So, thank you.
Brian?
I think it's a great idea. I think it'll help us economically, and then first and foremost, it's gonna be safer. If any of us have ever tried getting out of our vehicles on Missouri Valley's Erie Street, it's dangerous. So anytime we can make it safer, I think that's the right move.
Jerry?
I'm a little bit mixed on this one. I'm in favor of it in general, but I do feel like it hasn't really been presented, whether it be media or maybe my own shortcomings, I don't know, but it just wasn't, there's some gray areas, okay? And I see what you're all talking about when you talk about economic benefit, you talk about accessibility, you talk about access to the cities and them to us. I get all that, but I just feel it's been poorly presented in the past. Every time it became a topic at the city level, it was confusing. It was unclear, and I think there's a lot of people that feel that way.
Tony?
I think it's a very positive thing for Harrison County, but I will tell you, and I've asked members of the Mo Valley City Council, what is your plan? This is going to be a big change for Missouri Valley, and what can we do to help facilitate that? We've had discussions as far as, let's don't let the Department of Transportation just pull out and leave that street the way it is. Make sure that things like that are taken care of. And it takes some planning right now. And I think the county needs to support Missouri Valley any way we can.
Thank you. Dan, the next question. Do you feel you know what each office in the courthouse really does?
No. No, I don't, I think it's impossible. I do know what the assessor's office does because I've been on that committee for the past 3 or 4 years, and I've been involved in that. I'll just leave it at that. So no, I don't know what all the departments do, and that's what I'm anxious to find out and meet with them department heads to find out what their concerns are and what their problems are and how I can help them to make everything run smoother. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Brian?
Not extensively. I have a general idea of what each department does. I took the class at Harrison County Economic Development, the leadership class they put on. And in that class, you get each department coming in and speaking, and kind of giving you a general idea of what they do. So I do have a general idea of what each department in the county does, but to get down into the nitty gritty, no, I do not know everything they do, but a general idea, yes.
Jerry?
In broad stroke fashion, yes, I got a pretty good idea what each department does. But absolutely know the intricacies of each of those jobs. And that's why earlier the question involved what would be my greatest challenge. That's why I answered it the way I did. I think it's important for us to know these things so that we can be supportive, so that we can, being supportive improves morale. And we need a little bit of that. So I'm told. So, no, I don't, but in broad stroke fashion, I think I got a grip on it.
Okay, Tony?
I think I have a pretty good idea.
Is that all you want to say?
Yes. Thank you.
Roger, do you feel you know what each office in the courthouse really does? Do you feel like you really know what each office in the courthouse does?
I go to the courthouse for your voice, I'm sorry, I just picked up.
Do you feel you know what each office in the courthouse really does?
Oh, sure.
All
No,
right.
no, it's kind of guesswork until they run me out.
Oh,
But I do try and follow the signs. As far as what they really do, I know there's a very competent lady out there that's running back and forth between two offices, trying to keep that part of the thing going, so we got a problem there, there's no question about it. That's all.
all right. Well, this one, with the exception of you, Tony, and for obvious reasons, how many county supervisor meetings have you attended in the last 6 months? And we'll start with Brian.
I didn't keep count, but I have attended several. I missed Thursday of last week. It's the first one I missed in quite a while, but that's because we had a baby. But I have attended multiple. I can't tell you a number. I don't know, a lot.
Jerry?
I believe 10. I'm trying to think back here. I believe it's been 10. I remember I went to 2 of them and I didn't realize I was supposed to sign in, so.
I saw you there,
I don't know
Jerry.
if that counts or not. So maybe a dozen or so.
Okay. And like I said, they excluded you on this one, Tony.
Understandable.
So, Roger,
Yes.
how many in the last 6 months have you attended of the county supervisor meetings?
If I should become a supervisor.
No, in the past 6 months, how many have you attended? Have you attended any of their meetings on Thursday mornings?
I'm having a little trouble with this. Can you repeat it?
How many supervisor meetings have you attended? In the last 6 months, have you attended? How
Oh.
many meetings have you went to?
I'm sorry.
Have you attended some? Did you attend some?
Have you been,
Did I attend one?
have you been to any supervisor?
No, I haven't. I look at the results on the computer.
Okay.
Yes, I haven't, and you have trouble. No. I do look at the results on the computer, but I'm also, since I'm in the soil conservation gig, we do that too, and I do go up there for those. But I know, I feel kind of guilty. I should have attended more meetings before I ran, but I have read the minutes. So
Dan?
that's it.
I have not attended any meetings.
All right, we have one here. What are your opinions on creating an animal control position in Harrison County within public health or environmental health? I will read it again.
I didn't know that was on the list.
It's not. This is from them.
Oh, from the audit, okay.
Yeah.
What about?
What are your opinions on creating an animal control position in Harrison County within public health or environmental health?
Probably, I thought we did have an animal control person. We did years ago. We don't anymore? Okay, I would talk it over with, the Humane Society and see what their proposals are, for that position. And if they would accept applicants for it. And it should be a skilled job in some way, if you can, because it's very important, to me. There you go.
Dan?
I'd have to look at the proposal to see what it's gonna cost, what it's gonna detail, how many people it's gonna take. It's gonna be a tax on somebody, so it will, unless it's gonna be a volunteer, or a funding, don't know, I'd have to see the proposal. Thank you.
Brian?
I'd have to look at the need, if it's something that we want to create another position on the taxpayers. I know the Humane Society does a great job now. They have their spay and neuter program. They're getting a lot of control on cats in the cities. The sheriff's office, they do a little bit of that. Large animals is tough. So we'd have to look at all of the aspects of it and make sure it makes sense for taxpayers. That's a lot of money to create a position. So we'd really have to look pretty hard at it.
Hey, Jerry?
Every time I look at the job that the Humane Society does now, I'm just amazed. It's all volunteer. It's amazing, the work they do. I'm in favor of it. I'll say that right out, I'm in favor of it, but I do agree that we need to study it, make sure that there's, the cost versus the benefit is there. And so we probably need to study that a bit. But I'm certainly in favor of it. I see a disconnect sometimes in the way things go now with regard, I shouldn't have said disconnect. The burden is put on the police, okay? And sometimes things don't just go exactly right. And so the Humane Society people will get called anyway, regardless of the police involvement. So I think there's room for improvement there. And so I think that for that reason and that reason only, I'd be in favor of looking at it.
Okay, Tony?
There's a proposal. I think some volunteers have worked very hard at it. It'll be before the board coming up. I think the budget might need some work yet. I don't think we're there as far as that goes. If I remember right, there was over 300 calls last year. And these volunteers did it day and night. And even the sheriff's department calls them because they don't want to have to deal with it. So there is a need. We just have to tailor it for what we actually have going on in the county. Thank you. And I support it 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Okay. Now, this is not for Tony and Brian. This question says, why did you not run in the primary election? Why did you not run in the primary election?
Oh, in my case, I hadn't decided yet if I wanted to run for the Board of Supervisors.
You want to speak into your microphone?
That was fine.
Your microphone. There. I
Oh,
barely heard you.
I didn't run for the primary because I hadn't yet decided I wanted to run for the Board of Supervisors. By the time it all gelled in my head that maybe I should be running for that, it was past the primary date to register, so that was it.
Okay, Dan?
I didn't run in the primary because I felt like years ago Russ Kurth had asked me to run, and a candidate stepped up and ran, and I didn't want to run against him. So I've been approached numerous times. but I felt like running on that ticket didn't fit. I felt like I wanted to run independently so I could represent everybody. I felt I wasn't a one-party person. I felt I was more independent to meet everybody's needs and listen to everybody, and that's kind of why I decided to go the route I did.
Okay, thank you. Jerry?
I was a latecomer, pure and simple, I was a latecomer, I missed the date. I was approached by some people urging me to do it, and I hesitated. Frankly, I hesitated too long. By that time, I was concerned about perhaps diluting the vote too much. There was two Republicans, no Democrats. And so, yeah, I just missed the boat, pure and simple. That's the honest answer.
Okay.
No excuse.
And Tony, you were in the primary, so you don't have to. Okay. Now think hard before you answer this one. With a new board being in place, is there any hope for reconciliation between the conference board and the supervisor board? And Tony, we'll start with you and come back this way.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Jerry?
gotta hear that question again.
With the new board in place, is there any hope for reconciliation between the conference board and the board of supervisors?
There's always room for that. I have to say yes. I don't know what the issues are. But even not knowing what those issues are, I still have to say yes. There's always a place for that. There's always a way to work things out. There's always a way to find some common ground. So I'd say yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Dan?
Absolutely.
Roger?
I don't think I fully understand the issue.
With a new board in place, is there any hope for reconciliation between the conference board and the board of supervisors?
I wasn't aware there was any conflict.
Okay,
So-
that's your answer. Thank you. Jeannie, do we have any more, or?
That's all the questions that we had from the audience.
Okay, we'll go to the 2-minute wrap up. Why should voters choose you over the opponents on this? We'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that probably my approach is a little different point of view that would be to the advantage of the county. I mean, these guys are all smart guys, they're all capable, but I think I'm capable too. And I think that my different point of view to things might make a difference and improve things for people. That's the reason I want to run for the board of supervisors.
Thank you. Dan?
I feel that I work hard for everybody. I don't care where you are. I don't care what town you live in. It's about pulling everybody together and trying to save as much money. I pay a lot of taxes. You can look it up. I pay a ton of taxes. If we can utilize and save some money in our pockets and develop and bring people to our area, I think we just went off the air. Okay, thank you. Now let's track where I was. But anyhow, my dedication and my loyalty and my approachment, you can always approach me. I feel that I am the best candidate because of that reason. My family all lives here. My grandkids live here. This place is very important to me. So I'm gonna work very hard to get the values and everything that this county deserves. Thank you.
Brian?
I think being the youngest candidate on the ballot gives me an advantage. It helps me to be able to relate to the younger people. One of our things we've talked about all night is economic development, getting youth to stay here or come here. My age allows me to be able to relate with them and their needs a little bit. We do that on the fire department. We have a junior EMS program that's just exploded. It's huge. And we work very well with them. The leadership I have shown on the fire department, I've earned their trust. I'd like to earn yours as well. I think I have the experience with government offices. So I'm probably the best looking one here too.
Oh, he stole my thunder. He stole my thunder.
You got the best haircut, Brian.
That's haircut. Oh, Brian.
Hey, Jerry.
I lost my train. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm very, very approachable. I love people. I love dealing with people. I understand that when you're in public service, I understand that you are my report card. I'm open to feedback. I'm open to ideas. I'm open to suggestions. I don't have all the answers. But I darn sure will work hard at all times. And I'll never lie to you. I'm all about transparency, and I think that's very important. I will concede that Brian is definitely younger than I. So, folks, I hope that I've earned some degree of confidence here with you all tonight. I can't expect somebody to vote for me just by saying, hey, vote for Jerry. It doesn't work that way. You have to earn this stuff. And you have to be sincere in your efforts. Whether you pass or fail, if you're sincere in your efforts, then that's a win in itself, in my opinion. Because integrity is, it's so important. So I hope I've earned some of your trust tonight. Thank you.
Tony.
These are all great people up here. It's been good tonight. I have roots in this county and I'm vested in this success of this county. I've had 4 years on the Board of Supervisors. It's an open book. You can review it. You can ask me questions. That's what I'm here to do. I'm approachable. I'm dedicated. I'm honest as the day is long. And I will work very, very hard to earn and keep the trust that you place in me. Thank you.
Jeannie, do you have any words for us at this time?
Other than, again, thank you candidates for coming and answering all the questions. Thank you audience for